Hey everybody! I had a video on YouTube that I filmed a little while ago that showed my garage a little bit, focused on the cars and memorabilia, and it was taken off YouTube due to the audio, the music that was in the background. I had a member on YouTube reach out to me asking what happened to it. That's exactly what happened to it. So I'm going to take this opportunity to make another video. Hopefully this one's going to be a lot better. We're going to take a look around at the garage, talk about what I built here, look around the inside, the outside, talk about some of the decisions I made in building this garage, and then we're going to get a good look at all the cars that you see here, as well as a lot of the memorabilia that I've collected through the years. So here we go. Alright, first of all, talking about the building itself. This is a Rhino metal building. That is currently 40 by 40, and it sits on a 40 by 62 slab. The reason for that is actually twofold. When I was first researching garages, everyone seemed to indicate that whatever size you build, you're going to eventually outgrow it. And as you can see, with 9 cars in here, I might be able to stuff a 10th one in here, but it would be at its limits. So with this in mind, I started with quite a few less cars that you see today, but I knew that I'd be growing my collection. I opted to build this garage or have it engineered as expandable. The back of the area, the extra 22 by 40, which I'll show here in a minute on the outside, serves as a basketball court for my kids right now, but it will become garage by expanding the back wall when the kids have outgrown that. But before we go out there, talk more about the inside. When you build a 40 by 40, you normally build a heavy beam in the middle, and then you do light duty beams on the ends that you can see up there. So when I did this building, not only did I do a heavy beam in the middle, but I don't know if you can see back there behind all the cars, but there's another heavy beam on the back wall, and that's to tie in the future expansion. I also had my wiring contractor put in all the circuits for the garage, the future expansion, and ran those in conduit in the walls so that they would be in place prior to doing the spray foam installation. And then lastly, I had anchors sunk into the concrete slab in the back that the big beams on the back side there can be welded to. But other than that, in here I did 14.5-foot walls. I wasn't exactly sure where I would put lifts initially, so I wanted the option to put lifts anywhere, and I wasn't sure how many I'd have in this garage. But the walls are 14.5 feet, and you can see with low Mustangs I actually have quite a bit of ceiling height there, which turned out to be a great thing because I ended up building a loft over here to support get all my car parts and extra goodies up off the floor. The center peak is, I think, just shy of 18 feet if I remember correctly, and a lot of volume in here. So I do live in Texas, and it gets hot here, so large volume garage like this, especially metal, was going to get very warm. Ended up getting a 2-headed, or it's also known as a mini split. So there's 2 inside units. There's one right up here. You can see, let's see, it's going up the stairs here. We'll take a look at that right there. And the other one is on the back wall, back behind the Terminator up there. And then I also have an 8-foot metal fan that circulates to rotate all the air. And then not too long ago, I added an additional dehumidifier. But those keep it cool during the summer, and they also provide heat in the winter. And it'll be 100 degrees outside, and I can have it in the 70s here, nice and comfortable to work on the cars. And there's one outside unit that both of those tie into. And speaking of outside, we'll go take a look at the basketball court outside. All right, this is the area that currently serves as a basketball court for my kids. I did 22 feet on the slab length here because I've got a son that shoots a lot of threes, and I needed a 3-point shooting goal practice for him there. Then we got goals on each end here that they can play back and forth, pick up games with friends and neighborhood kids. But when they're done with this, that back wall will stay in place. This area will get enclosed, and there'll be a double garage door on this end that goes out to the side street over here. But yeah, they still use it quite a bit. They're both in college now, and they come home and play, and as well as during the summer. We also have neighborhood kids that come and use this quite a bit. But at some point I'll pull the trigger and convert this to additional garage space. All right, back inside, just taking a look from above, from up in the loft. We will work our way through the cars. We'll just, I guess, start with the oldest one and go up through the years. All right, first on deck is going to be the only non-SVT, non-Ford Performance Mustang in here, and it's my oldest. I bought this. This is a 1989 Mustang GT Convertible. It is not running, and it is awaiting a full restoration. And I think I have all the parts already. I've been buying them over the last 5 years. Big pile of parts up there in the corner of the loft. Not sure when I'm going to pull the trigger on the restoration. One of these winters I'll get going on that. But I bought this car in '91. I dated my then girlfriend, now wife, a long time ago in that car. Had it as a daily driver for obviously a very long time. I think it has about 116,000 miles on it, if I remember correctly. And the plan is to make that car look factory fresh, like it just rolled off the assembly line, maybe even a little bit better. But that'll get a full nut and bolt restoration before too long. All right, after '89 is my other Fox body. 1993 Mustang Cobra. This was the first year of the SVT Cobra. Came red, black, and teal metallic. And teal metallic just does it for me. This is the best looking of the three in my opinion. And they seem to be commanding the best prices from what I've seen looking around. I bought this car, maybe 2014 I think it was. Has 12,000 miles. Original down to the tires, total time capsule. And this one comes out once in a while, takes a little cruise around town, maybe runs a couple errands, but nothing too crazy because it's running on some old rubber. Yeah, this is about as clean as a car from the 90s can get. All right, after '93, which was the last year of the Fox body Mustang, and the first of the SVT Cobra, which was a one-year only car. Now is the Sn95 Mustangs, and my 1994. This is the Indy 500 Cobra Pace car. This one, again, riding on its original tires, looks brand new. If you look on YouTube, you'll see the massive project that I had on this called my Sn95 project. So this car only has 141 miles on it. Came from the Northeast and arrived to me with a rusty bottom, unfortunately. The top side, the paint, the top, the interior, everything on this car looks absolutely brand spanking new. The tires still look brand spanking new, but unfortunately the bottom was rusted. So it started out, I thought it was going to be a light project. It turned into a massive undertaking. Basically stripped the whole bottom down and completely redid the bottom. So now it looks just as new, if not better, than than the top does. But have a look on my channel. You'll see my Sn95 project, and that turned into a 7-month total bottom restoration. This car is not registered, doesn't come out. Just drove around the neighborhood to make sure everything worked. But that's it. All right, after the 94 Mustang Cobra, again, that's a one-year only car. That was one of 1,000 made Indy 500 pace car. If you can't tell, I kind of focused on one-year only offerings. The next one up chronologically would be the latest car that I got. This is a 1995 Mustang Cobra Convertible, also known as a two-top or a hardtop convertible. This one has both a soft top that you see on it right now that can be put down, and then it also has a removable hard top that is on the stand here. I'll show you in a second. There were 1,003 of these made, convertible wise. They're all black with saddle interior, but only 499 of them got the removable hard top. So that combination makes this kind of a rare bird. And most people don't even know that a convertible, two-top removable hardtop Mustang convertible even existed. But this one has more miles than I normally have. Came across this one, it had 23,000 miles. And actually the paint has seen better days. And I will probably end up doing a full repaint on this car to make it look brand new. The interior looks fantastic, but the paint is, it needed some help. The top for that car is actually sitting over here. It's got a cover over the top, and it is on the stand, but that is a fiberglass hardtop, black, that matches the car. And those are the rear deck lid panels that cover the convertible top that goes on the in the back there. And then when that top is on the car, most people won't even notice that it's a convertible. But unlike, the big difference you'll see when the top is on is with a coupe, these rear quarter windows would not go down. On the convertible, they do. So you can put the hard top on there and drop those rear windows. And people always ask, how did you mod that car to put those quarter windows down, which is kind of neat. All right, after 95, which was the one-year only offering, that was the only hardtop removable convertible Ford made. Next up is the 96 Mystic. This was the first ever color-changing production car. This one has 400 miles on it. I think like 400 and a change, 402, something like that. Looks like brand new car inside and out. Kind of a neat color change, and you really got to get these cars out in the sun to see the colors pop. And of course, it's in a dark area underneath my my bend pack lift here. But yeah, this one, you know what? I don't have this one registered, or I did, and I think I let it lapse. But this is not a driver either. I've owned it for, I don't know, a couple, 2-3 years. I took it to one car show. Out of a sea of hundreds of custom cars and amazing offerings, they picked their top 25 and actually got a top 25 trophy with this car, which blew my mind. It was a big sea of a huge field of cars. But yeah, neat. Color changes colors and gets really poppy out in the sun. All right, so the SVT Mustang Cobras, 93, 94, 95, 96. Those were all one-year, one-off cars that I wanted to add to my collection. 97, 98, nothing too stand-outish, so to speak, of those cars. 99 was the first year of the new Edge. 99 was also the first year of the independent rear suspension. But, you know, nothing too standoutish on that. But then along came this car here, the venerable 2000 Cobra R. This car has been one of my favorites. This has been my favorite until I added a new one here, and now I have two favorites. But this thing is just a different animal. This is a thoroughbred race car that is street legal. Fun as heck to drive. It's just raw, no traction control, no stability control, no radio, no air conditioning, no back seat, Just I'm a pilot, so I'd call this a stick and rudder airplane. Just you really feel connected to the car. The engine shakes, shakes everything. You can slide this car around, point it where you want it to go, and just a lot of fun. I did a big video on this one, the 2000 Cobra R, 20 years later. That's also on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out if you're more interested in this car. This was one of 300 made, and actually this one was one of 5 sold in Canada. The only difference on the quote-unquote Canadian cars is there's a sticker in the door jamb that talks about it's not for street use, it's for competition use only, but they eventually became street legal up in Canada. And then the window sticker is in French and English, but this one is registered. It's too much fun. I have, I think, 1,300 miles on this car, 1,300 miles. It comes out once in a while and has a little fun. But that's the 2000 Cobra R. All right, next up is my 2004 Mistachrome Terminator Convertible. This is the second and final color-changing Mustang Cobra from Ford. This one, people often confuse Mystic with Mistachrome, but they're two totally different colors, especially when you get them out in the sun and see how they pop. This one is actually number 3 for me. I had 2 others with higher miles. This one only has 500 miles on it, and I don't drive it. Matter of fact, I don't even think I've had it really out of the garage since I got it, what, a year and a half ago or so. But I need to fire it up and get it out, give it some exercise. But looks like a brand new car. We'll go look at it down low because I'm up in the loft right now. This is one of 495 convertibles made. Original tires. Matter of fact, all these cars in here, with the exception of the 95, I don't have the original tires, and the 2011 Shelby, which I'm going to get to here a little bit later. I burned those off, so to speak. But all the cars in here have their original tires. The 2000 Cobra R, I pulled the original tires and wheels off that car and stored them up in my loft. Because those tires were made specifically for that car and you can't buy them anymore, and I wanted to preserve them. So I'm running aftermarket wheels and tires on that car just so I can go have fun and not worry about them. But this car here, still on its original tires like the other cars, and they look brand new like the rest of the car. But that's the 2004 Mistachrome Terminator Convertible. So the SVT Mustang Cobras ran from 93 to 2004. And I have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. And then after 2004, there was a gap in the SVT Mustang until 2007 when the Shelby GT500 came out. The Mustang Cobra, or the Cobra moniker, was dropped. Now with the Shelby name slapped on the back. This one is a 2011, and this was the first year of the aluminum block. You know, that's the year the Coyote motors came out in the Mustang GTs. This is a 5.4 aluminum block, 550 horsepower stock from the factory. This one's been bumped up. We'll look under the hood here in a minute. But this one, it's got a 2.9 Whipple putting out 750 horsepower. Where all the Mustang Cobras up there on the lifts and back there on the floor, all those are kind of, well, they're all 1 year only rare cars that I preserve and don't drive much. These Shelbys were mass produced, much more so. Not really rare. They made them 2007 through 2014. So I drove this car quite a bit. I think it has 33,000 miles on it. Still looks fantastic. I actually taught my teenage sons at the time how to drive a clutch in this car, so when they were 15 with learner's permits, they actually got behind the wheel of this car and figured out how to operate a clutch. But yeah, this car you got to get pointed straight, stomp the skinny pedal, and have a whole lot of fun while you're holding on. we'll take a look under the hood. Alright, I didn't pop the hoods on any of the other cars because they're all 100% stock, just like they left the factory. This car though, I have done extensive work under the hood. It started with the Ford Racing 750 horsepower 2.9 Whipple kit, 750 crank horsepower. It's the polished blower. Comes with the Whipple, the throttle body intake, filter housing, double fuel pump that goes in the fuel tank, and a tune to take this car from 9 psi 550 horse up to 17 psi and 750 horse. I'm still running the factory exhaust with the cats. Drive this car like I stole it. Very good conservative tune that allows you to have a lot of fun without hurting the engine. But that is the 5.4 aluminum block. I think that's called the Condor, if I remember correctly, with the 2.9 Whipple. All right, last but not least, the big mamma jamba, the 2020 Shelby GT500, dressed in rapid red tinted clear coat metallic. This car is an epic beast, amazing machine. And if you've seen my YouTube video that's gone completely crazy, I think it's approaching 40,000 views, I think, in 5-6 days. I put this car up for sale and it has sold. So it's still sitting in my garage, still in my possession, until the new owner gets a chance to fly to Texas to pick it up and drive it home. But yeah, this car is just on a whole nother level. It's really the first supercar that Ford has made with a Mustang. It has the Predator aluminum 5.2 cross plane crank, not flat plane crank like the Voodoo is in the GT350. But with 12 psi, it makes 760 crank horsepower. It has a one-off Tremec dual clutch transmission, paddle shifters, independent rear suspension, MagnaRide, 5-inch dual selectable exhaust, and just crazy on a whole different level. But it's manageable, which is not so much the case with the 2011. 2011 tries to kill you. It's fun in a different way. That's a solid rear axle, and the rear end can get a little live, so to speak, on you. The 2020 is well-mannered, well orchestrated, and just an amazing machine. So I guess I should mention, the reason why this one was being sold is I've got the same exact color combo coming in a carbon fiber track pack, and that's supposed to be built in July. Alright, I got a little bit of stuff here for the 1989 Mustang GT Convertible. But since my garage is really dedicated to SVT, Ford Performance, Mustang Cobra, Shelby GT500, I don't have a lot of wall space dedicated for just the Mustang GT. But after the 89, I've got quite a bit of stuff for the 93. You can see on the walls there. And I also collect a lot of the vintage SVT clothing and any of the shirts associated with the specific cars. But I don't know, I've lost track of how many SVT shirts that I have in the collection. But anytime they pop up, I'm usually buying them. But this is like all the original paperwork, certificate, window stickers, books, magazine articles, dealer brochures. And that's 93. And right next door to it here is the stuff for the 94. This one, I've actually got the hats over here. The rest of the hats are up on my two-post bend pack lift. But I got some of the shirts, jackets, sweater, the dealer brochures, certificate, and all that stuff for the 94. Alright, for the 95 stuff, I don't have a whole lot for that car yet, but I have the dealer brochure, handouts, certificate letter. It talks about the removable hardtop, and that's about it for right now. You can see all my general SVT Mustang Cobra hats that I've collected through the years. I've got them all hanging up on the two-post lift. I've got some of the Shelby GT500 hats on the back wall, but next up in line after the 95 would be the 96. And this stuff's kind of buried back behind my lift, and I got the cars pushed back, but I got, I think, everything 96 related. Posters, original paperwork, articles, shirts that were dedicated to that car specifically. But you can see it all back there kind of in the dark. Alright, next up on deck is the 2000 Cobra R. I've got a crap ton of memorabilia for that car. I've got, these are regular SVT shirts here. I've got all the Cobra R shirts in the back on, we'll see here in a second, but everything from the model cars to all the posters, original paperwork for that car, the paperwork talking about the Canadian shipment of the 5 cars, the original black binder, as well as the factory illustration sheets, all the hats. And then over here is all the magazines, articles, handouts, pamphlets that I could find on the 2000 Cobra R. And those are the shirts and a pullover jacket that was given to the assembly line workers. There's press kits, CDs, all sorts of stuff. Oh, and then there's more stuff back here behind the 94. Got to get some more lighting back here. But there's another poster there, some more magazine articles, you can kind of see them. But a little dark back here. As long as I'm back here, I was going to show, when I put the 96 Mystic up on the lift for the first time, I was detailing the bottom and found the original build sheet stuffed in a little compartment down the bottom, which was kind of a neat piece of history. I have extensive stuff on the Terminator. That's actually the original gray oil filter from the factory that was still in the car when I bought that. Bought this one over a year ago. It had never received an oil change. Got a custom one off Mr. Chrome model there. Here's some more of the 94 stuff just because there's a shelf here. There's one of the little rotating model engines for that car. And just got this remote control radio watch Cobra on eBay just last week. Otherwise, up here I've got all sorts of, you know, posters, pamphlets, press kits, handouts, paperwork, anything that I could find with the 2004 Cobras. Alright, after the 2004, right next door here we got the Shelby stuff. So again, the Cobra moniker was dropped. Now it's just simply known as the Shelby GT500. And this is, well, some of the handouts. I got like the dealer brochure. Got a car show sign that I had a guy make for me. I ran it on the dyno, spun out to 630 to the ground. That's hanging there. And I've got some Shelby GT500 hats, models, flags, banners, stuff like that. One thing I didn't talk about the garage earlier was my 14-foot wide, I think they're 12-foot tall, Rainier garage doors. They're the most insulated garage doors I could find. But this goes with the memorabilia. I've got these decals on the door. Got to get some more made because I'm missing some. But That was the Cobra R, the 2011, 2004, the 96, the 94, and 93. And then my growing area for the 2020 is over here next to the stairs going up to the loft. All the dealer brochures, the owner's book, the little handout paperweight for the supercharger, posters, and that nice picture there was from my sales lady. And that's it. That's I think all the major, well, we got some general SVT stuff on my little shelf here going up the stairs, and all my workshop manuals. Well, that was a look at my garage, the building itself, all the cars, the memorabilia. Hopefully you enjoyed the look around, and if you have any comments, questions, put them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See ya.